Hello everybody, it's me again, and today I am going to show you how to get started, like cast on and get started with Magic Loop. I've noticed that there's a lot of videos on YouTube that they either show you how to do it halfway into the project or it's just not explained very well, and some very important tips and tricks are left out that can really screw up your project later on if you don't have those. Keep those in mind. So my goal was to just show you a very simple yet very detailed explanation and example on how to do the magic loop. That means cast on and getting started. So because it's really fidgety in the beginning, and it looks like your whole project is a huge mess when you start it out. And I just want to show you that it gets better, and I'm going to show you how to make sure that it stays looking nice. I'm also going to be using these circular needles. Now, I have, how do I want to say it, a very expensive set of circular interchangeable needles. But I'm not going to use those because the cord on those are really nice. They don't curl. But a lot of us, I know myself, it took 2 years before I invested in a really nice set of interchangeable needles. And the kind you buy at the craft store, they don't have nice cables. I mean, let's be honest. They're curly. You can soak them in boiling water. You can try to straighten them, but they get that way. And that can make Magic Loop that much more complicated. So today I'm going to show you how to do it on these needles because this can get in the way. And I'm going to show you how I resolve that problem. What else did I want to say? Thank you all for subscribing to my channel. I do appreciate it, for liking my videos, sharing my videos, commenting. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so now. And if you'd like to follow me on Facebook, I will leave that link in the description below. But right now, I'm going to show you how to get started with Magic Loop. Now, you can cast on the same way you do when you're doing anything. I always use the long tail cast on. Let's see how many stitches I can get on. Just gonna, like I said, long tail cast on. If you don't know how to do long tail cast on, I did a video on that as well. I can leave that link in the description below if you'd like to know how to do a long tail cast on. But I'm just gonna see how many stitches I can fit on here, or how much tail I left myself to do stitches. I know some people recommend that I already have my stitches cast on, but I don't know. I guess I just like to do it all on video. Okay, getting shorter here. Okay, let's see how many we have. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27. Let's make it 28. Okay, now you have your stitches cast on. I have 28. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide my stitches down the cord like that, so it's on the cord, and I'm going to divide these stitches in half. So half of 28 is what, 14. So I'm going to count out 14 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 stitches. And I'm going to keep my finger and I'm going to split them in half. I'm going to bend my cord. I'm going to pull my cord out. So now I have 14 stitches on one side and 14 stitches on the other side. All I'm going to do is slide those down the needles. And like I said, this is fidgety. This does not look nice or pretty in the beginning, but no one shows that. I'm going to show you the struggles, the real struggles of getting started with Magic Loop, because we will all encounter them and it happens. So why not show you what you're going to experience and run into? Okay, so I have my 14 stitches here, 14 stitches here. I have all the knots lined up. Can you see? All my knots are facing in toward each other, okay? My working yarn is coming from right here. I want my working yarn to be in the back, on the back needle, like so, okay? So here's my back needle. All my knots are facing in toward each other. I have my working yarn on my back needle. Now this is rule 1. Your working yarn, you do not want hanging down like this. You don't want it hanging down. You want to actually bring it up and over like that. Okay? Rule 1, do not leave your yarn hanging down. In the middle, you always want to bring it up and over. You want it outside. Another rule is you're always going to take the needle, you're always going to be knitting with the needle that has the working yarn coming from it. So this will be the needle you pull every time to start knitting. You always want to keep your yarn in the back, and you always pull the needle that has the working yarn coming from it. So, pulled that needle out, I'm going to let go. You kind of want to hold them close, okay? See how I'm holding them close together? Take your working needle, and you just insert it into that first stitch just like normal. Make sure you grab your working yarn and not your tail yarn. You can kind of hold them close. The closer you hold them, the easier it's going to be in the long run, but if not, don't worry about it. It'll all work out. Take your working yarn, and you just start knitting off that needle. You're going to think you're doing it wrong. You're going to think it's not going to turn out correct, but it will. Like I said, the beginning, it looks horrible, it's fidgety, you don't think it'll ever be anything great, but I promise if you keep going with it, it will turn out fabulous. Okay. Just keep knitting across until you end. All your stitches have been knit. Drop that needle. That's what I do. Take this, and you want to turn it now to where this needle's in the back, and you just push this cord through. Now, this is struggle 1. You have to twist sometimes. You have to twist that needle on, and it can get fidgety, and it can be hard. And I'm not lying. It really can. And everyone will run into that problem at first because that's just how it works. But no one tells you that. But I'm telling you, it's going to be that way. Okay. So we have, like I said, I have my working yarn on the back needle. I have it outside. It's not down in between, it's on the outside. That's very, very important. Okay, again, you just want to pull that back needle. Make sure your yarn's on the outside. Pull the needle with the yarn, working yarn attached to it, and you do the same thing. You knit across this row, just like normal. And I haven't gotten any faster at knitting, so sorry. I don't know why I whispered that, but it just felt right. Anyways, it's late. I'm tired. But I had to make you guys a video because Magic Loop is so helpful in so many things. You can do so much with Magic Loop. Knit as normal. Okay, drop the needle, turn. Make sure your working yarn is out there. That's a habit I got into, and it works out because I don't even have to think about it anymore. So, okay, so we've made our first round. We've gone around a whole time. We have knit our stitches on both needles one full time. Again, I'm not lying when I tell you, you're going to struggle with getting your needles or your stitches up that needle, but it gets easier the further along you get in the project. Okay, this is the working yarn. I try to keep it out of the way so I don't knit with it. Okay, so again, I have my stitches lined up. I have my working yarn in the back coming out. You don't want it in, you want it out. I cannot emphasize that enough. It is very important. Okay, have it coming out, and all I'm going to do is the same thing. Pull that back needle with the working yarn coming from it. Pull it out. Do you see this cord? Yeah, it gets in the way, but don't worry about it. Just keep doing what you're doing. And you just start knitting this row again. Like I said, it helps if you hold the cord with the stitches close to the needles. That helps. And you knit across, same way. And you might have big, like you're going to think they're gaps. I might have one. There'll be gaps, like where you start, like you'll see just a string, and that will close up. If you just keep knitting along, that gap on the edges will close up. Okay, drop, turn. Make sure your working yarn is in the back and not down in between the needles. Scoot it through. You sometimes have to twist this needle on, guys. And your cord will get in the way. These are real life problems that really happen. Okay, so I have it all set up again. I have my working yarn coming out. Again, not down here. Horrible, bad, don't do that. Out on the outside. Take the needle that has the working yarn. You're always going to pull the needle with the working yarn. It'll be your back needle, sometimes it's your bottom needle, but it's always the needle with the working yarn is the one you want to pull. Hold the cord stitches close to the needles and knit. And I'm going to show you. That's all there is to it. The getting started is probably the most hardest part. If that made any sense. The most hardest part. The hardest part. But yes. That's the difficult part, is just getting everything to work out the way you want it. But it gets easier. Again, I dropped my needle. I'm turning my work, making sure that yarn is in the back. Pushing my cord through, my front needle through. And it will get easier, guys. Twist it on there if you have to. I always make sure that my work, that part that has been, that's starting to grow, is pulled down. Makes it easy, and all my nice stitches are on top. Make sure my working yarn is coming off the back like so. Again, when it comes down like this, bad, very bad. You want it up and out. That's where you want it. And you always pull the needle that has the working yarn coming from it, and you just knit. Keep your stitches close to one another. And that's it. The most important thing I can tell you about Magic Loop is what I've been emphasizing throughout this whole video, is when you start a new round or you're starting, you want to make sure that working yarn is over and outside of the circle. You do not want it hanging down in between. It'll leave you with extra stitches that aren't real stitches or like yarn overs. You don't want that. I learned that the hard way. So this always over and out of the way. Push your cord through with your needle. You can twist it on. And what I was talking about, like when you first start out, you might have like a line here, like a big stringy, like look like this kind of line. And it's okay. That happens sometimes in the beginning when you first, like your first row or two. If you keep going, that will close up on its own. Just important, keep this back here, keep your stitches close. Like watch. You always pull the needle that has the working yarn coming from it. And I try to keep my stitches that are on the cord close to the stitches that are on the needle. And I try to hold them for that first stitch, I try to hold them together. And then I knit that stitch. If you do that and you try real hard to do that, but not too tight, you won't end up with any gap. As you can see, I didn't end up with a gap, but I did in the very beginning when I first started doing Magic Loop. But if you can get in the habit of just holding your stitches together and then starting your round, you should be fine. And that's all you do, guys. You just keep doing the same thing. Drop your needle, turn it. You always want to make sure the needle with the working yarn is in the back and your working yarn is out. And then make sure you don't knit with your tail yarn because that's bad. And then you just push your needle through. Sometimes you have to twist it. In the beginning, it's going to be tight and you're going to fight with it. And your cord's going to get in the way. You can't avoid it. you just ignore it. Act like it doesn't exist. And just do what you do, you know? Just keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, I always try to pull the part that's growing down. But that's it, guys. That's how you get started on the magic loop. It's not that hard. It takes practice, and I want you guys to practice, but don't get discouraged, because magic loop opens up so many opportunities and doors for you in the knitting world, and I know you can do it if you just stick with it. And I think that's it, guys. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so now. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and share it with your friends. Why not? And until next time, guys, I hope you all have a fabulous day, and I will see you soon. Happy knitting. Bye.